And that is kind of the essence of what we do, the foundations. We plug into your existing identity stack. We don't displace it. And we transform how authentication works in your organization to where there is no movement of credentials. So there is nothing to steal. And you cannot man in the middle of the connection because we can detect it. And every authentication, whether it's the initial access attempt or reauthorization for continuous auth, always checks the full posture of the device. And, we started off doing that for workers, employees, contractors. The typical movement early for us was a customer would have a contractor audience, contract software developers, contract marketing, contract PR, executives with exemptions for personal devices, but they had to maintain compliance. They had to be able to show that even though these folks were working on their data, that it was still secure, the controls they expect were still present. And so we could do that simply. Where we've now moved into is because of how we built our authentication technology and how it's kind of universal. Our authenticator works on Linux. And because it works on Linux, it's actually rather trivial to make it work on this drone. And if I have a bunch of drones flying around and I want to know what drone is mine versus someone else's, I can just zap it with an 802 next challenge and I can get back a full attestation from our authenticator. You can run it on a humanoid robot and get identity. You can actually run it on a server-based agent and start solving some of the agent identity problems that are coming up. So it really foundationally, it's about attacking the primary security vulnerability, which is identity, which is credentials that move and lack of understanding of the device the credentials are bound to. I probably talked for too long.
No, it's fascinating that my PhD is actually like I'm researching essentially the exact same thing with encryption keys
Yeah.
on satellites.
Okay. Cool. 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 Yeah.
There's a big issue, right, where there's just no real way to secure satellites for the future. Right. As soon as they leave the ground, you have, a 10 to 15-minute window to connect with it, patch it, test it, make sure that it's still working. And then it, rotates around. And yeah, you can switch ground stations and whatnot, but it becomes very tedious and it's difficult. It's really hard. And, a lot of the satellite people that I was talking to, they said, oh, what you're trying to do probably isn't going to work. It's going to be too delayed and whatnot. And I mean, my theory was, well, can't we just throw it in an HSM, put the keys there, authenticate the keys on an interval, when we need to communicate throughout the network and then call that zero trust? Like, doesn't that meet the requirements for zero trust? And if it meets those requirements, can it use, post quantum encryption to communicate off of? And all like now, everyone that I'm talking to, the people that are like actually in the post quantum encryption world and the satellites and everything else, they're saying like, but yeah, that's totally doable, that's like totally possible. It's fascinating because like for 2 years I was literally thinking, man, is this thing even going to work?